Welcome back to Becoming a Published Author is Fun. If you don't understand that, check out episode 8 where I explain it. Today we are in episode 54, and our topic is the itch. Um, there might be other titles for it, but I think that one is very appropriate. You know how you get that itch and you just got to scratch here and scratch there. It's not that kind of an itch. It's an inner itch. This is something that can drive you batty, nuts. It can really be bothersome to you, but it doesn't have to be. So let's look at this and take a discussion. So what is the itch? Well, I've got different things we're going to look at here. I have goals achieved, getting published, expectations, difficulties, dates, and of course more. So let's take these one step at a time, and I think we'll get a picture of what the itch is and how to deal with it. And also, is it good or bad? So let's look at the first one, goal achieved. We all set goals, or we should be setting goals for our lives, for our business, our careers. You can nail that down right to your individual book. You have a goal. You want when you want to have it ready to be published. When you want it published to go live, and you have goals for your sales, and you have goals for different things pertaining to that book. Well, that is something that you do want to achieve, and there's an itch that comes with that, and you feel it inside you. You have this desire. It's a burning desire. It's an expectation, as we have down here, that just won't let go of you, and you want to get that goal. And if you're like me, I think a lot of people think I'm a patient man. Well, I am a patient man. I just ask what I want. I get it yesterday. I'm not as patient as maybe people might think I am. But the thing is, you want something so bad, so urgently, that it's already past the time you wanted it. It's always past that time. I call it the itch. Something that you really, really want. And if you let it get control of you, it can lead you down the wrong roads. You can set the wrong goals. Or you can take steps that you think will get you to that goal, but really undermines the whole idea. You've got to be careful, and you've got to be in charge. You've got to be in control. I've used that word before. Not only do you need to be in control as far as the publishing and everything goes in the business, but you need to be in control of your own emotions, your own desires or itches. So getting your goals achieved. Now, different people do it different ways. You can do it by simply writing it down somewhere, having it in a book, maybe posting it on your refrigerator or mirror or someplace that you tend to go to frequently, and you see that, and it reminds you of what your goal is. And your goals can change. We'll see that as we develop this whole discussion. But the thing is, your goals can change, especially once you've achieved them. You've achieved a goal, so you set new goals. In fact, I would say as you get near to achieving it, you might want to set new goals that are higher, so that you're constantly, like a ladder, you're constantly climbing upward. Here's a goal, getting published. You haven't even written the first sentence of your book, perhaps, and you're already thinking about getting published. Is that wrong? No. That is eventually what you want to be. You want to be a published author. So getting it published is something that you can think about. In fact, you probably should think about it. In fact, I would take away the word probably. You should be thinking about it before you ever actually write the book. But let's say you have written a book, and now you're looking for a publisher. Okay, are you going to go? You have choices to make. Are you going to go traditional, self-publishing, or are you going to be an indie publisher where you publish it yourself? Or are you going to hire an indie publisher such as myself? These are all decisions that you make. And so getting published is a good goal to have right from the start. And so what do you know about it? Well, if you've been watching these videos at all, you have learned quite a bit about what it takes to be an author, a published author, and also to get published. And you know that I am a published author myself. You know also that I am a publisher, and you know that I'm a coach and a teacher. A lot of things you already know about me. I know nothing about you yet, and I certainly do want to learn about you. But you already know things about me, and it helps you make decisions. That's one of the reasons I put out the content that I do. I'm putting out content, good content that you can use now, so that you know that I deliver on my promises. I promise you content that you can use. And I've never had anybody say anything different about the content that I put out. And this is all free. It's free content that you can use now. By the way, these videos, when people come in and they become a student, they develop they develop their own tool cart or tool chest. But I actually am building a tool chest that includes everything that's in their lessons, plus other things such as these videos, these podcasts. Those will be in the tool chest as well, and that is something that, as once you go through the course, you have access to that tool chest. If you're a client, you have access to that tool chest. So there's different ways. That is just something that I am providing for people, and it going to help you be better as an author, or even publishing your own books. So getting published, that is something that that creates an itch. That's a good itch to have. But you also got to be careful. You got to do your research, find out about the publishers, what do they offer, so on and so forth. There's also dangers. You could go the wrong direction. I'm trying to save you some wrong directions. Like I teach you that you can go traditional if you want to. Then you have my best wishes, but I think you're making a mistake, because your royalties are not going to be the kind that you could earn. It could take a lot longer for you to get your book published, and it's just a rocky road unless you are a VIP, a very important person. And so that's just something that you need to make that choice. Self-publishing itself is better than traditional, but better than either one of them is becoming an indie author and making use of either your own skills at publishing or hiring out a publisher. And you can hire out a marketer, you can hire out an editor, different people, but you're the one taking responsibility and having the control that you should have. Getting published. Another thing is expectations. We all have expectations. It's just something we need to deal with. We are creating in our mind expectations every step forward we take. Even say you get published, you have expectations of what's going to happen to that book. So marketing suddenly becomes very important to you. You may not have thought about it before, but now all of a sudden it moves right up to the front. And so that's one of the things that in the Basic Authors Training course actually teach you how to do some marketing. And we provide you some marketing tools. The treasure chest I was talking about, tool chest. that is one of the tools that you have. Within that tool chest are all sorts of marketing tools as well as publishing and writing tools. Now here's a biggie: difficulties. Now that's not the other things here are things that actually lead to the itch. Well, another form of the itch you could call crisis. All of a sudden you have a crisis. I remember reading, and I don't say that I have this down exactly right. I'm doing this by memory. But in the Chinese language, the word for crisis is a marriage of two words together. One means like a difficulty, a danger, something of that nature. The other one is opportunity. And that is a good way to look at it. You have difficulties come into your life. And so they can stop you, or you can solve them in one fashion or another. And by solving them, it leads you to greater opportunities. When you look at it that way, it is something that really can change your life. After my wife passed, I had a difficulty. One difficulty was we had been living on both incomes, so I had to get a temporary job, part-time job. But I also led to the opportunity to do what I am doing now, and I am having a blast doing it. Not only this podcast, but also writing. I've always enjoyed writing, but now so more than ever, I'm also writing lessons. I come up with these topics, things of this nature. The course. I'm a teacher and a coach in that. All these different things are some of them are rather new to me. And you might say, well, then that disqualifies you. Well, that's up to you. God opened that door for me, and I've got over 30 years experience as a writer, a frustrated writer for sure, and then add another 20 years to that as a author, a published author. So I've got 20 years as a published author. I've got 10 years now as a publisher. And so what I'm doing is I'm taking that energy, I'm taking that knowledge, all that, and those were difficult times when I established a lot of that. But it led to greater opportunities, so that I now am able to help you avoid the difficulties. I can't avoid death, and I can't avoid a lot of different things that can happen to your life, but I can help you overcome those difficulties, see a way through it, and become a published author without going through the School of Hard Knocks, which I've talked about many a time. The difficulties can lead to greater opportunities. So that's that. Another thing is dates. Dates are not always that great. I mean, if you go on a date, that's one thing. But when you have dates that are staring you in the face, that can be a problem. Now I have here, I actually have 3 calendars, but I got 2 that I work with on a regular basis. One is a personal calendar, so my personal needs and so forth. The other one is a business calendar. Originally I had just one calendar trying to do everything in that, and it kind of gets messy and it's hard to decipher. So now I have 2, one for the business and one for me personally. And that's one way in which I am solving a difficulty, and it's opened up doors for me in that sense, is that I can now keep track of ideas, especially dates. I can record a date. For instance, perhaps I have a program that I'm interested in participating in. I think it has some opportunities for my business, and I have a tentative date at this point in time, in which I'm aiming at to take advantage of that. So that as that draws closer, that date becomes bigger in my mind and so forth. Or maybe I have a opportunity to meet with a certain person, not for a romantic date, but for information, for a meeting, for guidance, whatever it happens to be. That date takes, as it gets closer, becomes more important to me, and it can create its own difficulties. And it can be, think of marriage when you're approaching your wedding day. As the closer you get, sometimes you get nervous. Uh, Basically, I didn't get nervous until the wedding day itself, when the man who was to be my best man suddenly dropped out because he and his wife, who was also in the wedding party, had an argument. I was sitting there watching a ball game, and all of a sudden, I find out I've got to scramble, and so that created some stress and everything on me. So that's not the normal way, but that was a date that came up and suddenly hit me in the face on the very day that it had to happen. By the way, they both showed up for the wedding ceremony. More things. There's always more things to do, more opportunities, more difficulties, more expectations, goals that need to be changed and need to be achieved, need to be added. You should always be be a goal setter. Why? Because the higher your goals, the higher you're going to be. I watched a hockey team when I was younger, and they would set their goal here, not here up at the top, but they would set their goal here just to make the playoffs. Well, they would just miss it. When they got wise and started shooting up here to win it, right up there at the top to win it, all of a sudden their wins started climbing, and they eventually won it. Setting goals is helpful to you. Don't set them so high you can't reach them. You can have a close goal that you can easily achieve, and then one that's a little bit harder, and then just keep out in the distance. Make them reasonable. Think about them. You can talk to other people about what goals you should have for your particular life or your particular business. But you should always be thinking in terms of goals. So what is the itch? It's that feeling you have that actually can drive you forward, or it can cause you to stumble if you're not in control of it. So always maintain control of it and satisfy that itch. That's it for today. I hope this has been helpful for you, and I'll see you in the next episode.